cutting illusion, even though it defines something, that what are we cutting and what is illusions? The way I look at reality now is that I'm in my human body. I may or may have a soul, depends on where people are upbringing. Um, there is a program that I refer to, the mind, which is the constructs of my own thoughts. So over the years of healings and internal journeys and navigating through myself, my awareness, my patterns, my conditions, those are the simple ways for me to put it. And over time, I start to recognize that I have this ability to really break away those programming, those childhood from traumas, from conditions, from little simple things that our inner voice that tells us, like whether we are negative about ourselves, whether we are not good enough about ourselves, how we have doubt about ourselves, all of those negative aspects. I'm able to, over the years, actually slowly break away those conditions, break away those voices. And that's what cutting illusion is. And the more I go into meditations, along with many other modalities that I tap into, also learn from other teachers. And it just wasn't just from me, it's also the key holder from other people like yourself, Sensei, anyone that I connect with, whether we align with each other or not, they actually hold the key for us to able to observe and recognize what is it within myself, that I like or dislike, that I'm able to break away those stories. And when we break away the stories, I have the ability to cut those illusion, which is the illusion of this. I call it the perceptions of false reality, even though it's very real in this human body. So that's what I mean by cutting illusion. It's very simple. I think one thing I want to share about, like, it's incredible to be educated with educations, incredible to dive into science, spirituality, religious practice. But it's so simple that we forgot how things are reflected with our day-to-day life. So to observe what is the simplest thing, I'm gonna give you an example. Like, you see me wearing something look like a Chinese jacket or outfit. A simple thing is, a lot of my past experience from other teachers and people, that sometimes we say, hey, being Asians wearing Chinese outfits is very egotistic, or someone that's showing that they are the master, they are not really truly a master. But just a simple fact that if I recognize that there's a level of fear for me to wear something that is actually who I am, or enjoy or loving it, knowing that there is a place that take part in how we feel about ourselves, how
Mm.
we see, observe, and think about what we receive from other informations outside of ourselves. That it is something that is part of me, part of what I am, who I am. But why is it allowing other to say that is something, wearing something like this is very egotistic? This is just a simple way of sharing with people that you can break those illusions, you can break those constructs and programming. Then I'm gonna wear it. I'm going to wear it, even though at the beginning we might have judgment about ourselves.
Mm.
We might feel shame about ourselves. We might feel we're not good enough to wear it. We're not worthy enough to wear it. So here I am wearing this because it's really who I am.
So it really requires one to step outside of the story they're telling themselves at that moment. And
Yes,
and I would imagine that the practice of cutting the illusion is giving us the ability to catch it in real time.
absolutely. That's why being in the present is more difficult than people just saying be in the present or be in the now. Because in order to be in the present, we have to know how to cut those illusion and how to break those programming day to day, every second, every moment. And it takes years. Sometimes it takes years to break one simple habit that we've been doing for years. And when you can break that, that is actually part of cutting illusion. I'm going to share one of the profound journeys. over the years, I wasn't able to express myself. That is, whether I have childhood traumas or mainly culture or conditions. This voice, this our voice is our power, as you recognize, Yone. And when we're not able to express who we are, saying things, whether it's kind, whether it's compassion, whether it's even hateful, there's something that we hold in myself. I don't know how to express it, and when I do express it, I'm not being heard. So that journey led into complete unhappiness, complete even anxiety and suicidal thoughts. Then it takes a lot of years for me to step into my courage and even saying, this is not what I want, this is not who I am, this is not what I want to do anymore. Then I actually completely left my corporate work and just completely pulled my money out and took a journey. There was some help out there, friends that actually very supportive. I went into many retreats. One of the retreats I went into actually was Peru, and I did a ayahuasca retreat with shamans. And for the very first journey, at the time, I didn't understand what I was doing, what was it going on within myself or with others. I just like, I need to find out about who I am. I don't know how to go about. But the first journey with the medicine, I was really sitting in meditations myself and with my own thoughts. I was able to communicate with the plant, with the spirits, and with my own voice. It was nothing like people think, or maybe people have different experience. In my own experience, it was mainly that I was me talking and asking questions myself. I would ask question, let me know if this is who I am. Let me know if this a yes, if this a no, who's doing this, who's doing what, whether I move my hand, whether I move my leg, whether I move my head nodding yes or no. They were all my voice. And even asking those questions, the answer were still my own answers. But of course, the movements allow me to recognize there's something beyond me also um, that is there.
Mm.
So that is one of the most profound thing that allow me to begin to realize that something in my own mind that I can actually have control of, that I can actually have conversation with, and it isn't just an illusion. It was something that I learned about myself for the very first time. From there, the journey led into a other retreats, other coming back to the state, integrating. I went into a monastery for meditation, learning about the Eastern Buddhist teachings, philosophy, and all of those. They're great knowledge, they're great educations, and they're great, profound teachers out there actually helping others like myself. But then it wasn't really still diving into really who I am yet. It's still me working, relationship, kids, society. All
Mm.
of this didn't fit in myself because I still haven't able to have the courage to express who I am. From there, when I came back at the States at home, I began to learn, begin to practice meditations after the retreats. Then I went a few times to different places for meditation retreats and came back. And one of the profound thing that came to me, actually, I saw it in a vision, and this leads to dream state. In order to cut illusion, we have to have the ability to awaken and access our dream states, not just lucid dreaming, but really understanding, interpret our own image, our own emotions through dreams. And I saw myself for the very first time, like we refer to on the Western, we call it our ego states, our image. I saw myself walking up towards me at the time was like I was very small. I was very afraid, and I recognize it, and it shows me the story. It shows me how to. That's the beginning process. How to navigate through my own thoughts, how to break those programming, how to cut those illusion, and I share those in my meditations. And basically, it was showing a library of informations that have the negative story of who I am, and it shows a very positive library of the positive image of really who I am, a powerful being. And from there, that begins the process of learning more into my own thoughts. I always share with people, start with self-love no matter what. Start with boundaries. Start with have the courage to distance from people that are hurting you. Because if you don't have the self-love, you cannot observe what's really happening. And the cutting the illusion, they have to walk their own process. But we can guide each other the process. I can guide the journey to their journey, but it's not going to be the same. But like you say, having candle, doing meditations, it doesn't cut any illusion, because if we recognize that we are being hurt, some shape or form, if we're not loving ourselves, all we're doing is just repeating things that we learn through the concept of knowledge and text. But it isn't discarding the educations of the texts or the books of spiritual teachers. Is mainly that we have to begin to integrate by taking simple step, and daily practice is all about self-love, because we don't have to say that we need to act in kindness and compassion, which is truly what we want here in this planet. But in order to do that, we have to show ourselves how much unconditionally we love ourselves, our image, our how we define ourselves, and then undefine those labels. And then the process of cutting illusion is that when we can make a simple habit change and a condition change that says, if we can get up early in the morning to practice meditations without any story that tell us how we are not good enough for ourselves, then you're already in the progress of their own journeys, where you can actually cut the illusion. When you can cut those programming, you don't have the story. They're able to live in the present doesn't mean you don't think. It does mean you do think, you do analyze what you are doing, what you are creating. But when you are creating, you no longer have the judgment of yourself. Once you have that ability of knowing how to break those programming, then you begin to see others truly in the powerful being. So you don't disempower yourself and others. You empower of others by being allowing them to be who they are. So that is the process that I actually try to give people. When people say they cannot meditate, it's not that because they cannot meditate, they're not willing to sit there. And meditation doesn't really begin even for a year or two into you discipline yourself, like, and it form an exercise. You have to discipline yourself to sit and be there. And one of the biggest thing I share with people is that you're already meditating when you sit in front of a TV for 2 hours. You just let your thoughts suck into the illusion of the television. As simple as that. But when you sit for 2 hours, imagine you watch your own show of your own shit, of your own self. Whether it's negative, whether it's positive, you start to begin to realize your body is not happy about it. Not just your mind, but your body doesn't want to be there because we don't want to face it. And it doesn't mean it gets ugly. It just means that we have to find a way to be there for ourselves for an hour each single day. And it doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 5, 10, 15 minutes, and start from there. And it takes years. And even when it takes years, cutting illusion does not mean that you need to be there for an hour for meditation. If you sat there and you recognize that you're not happy with yourself, or you need to call somebody, or you need to have someone to be there with you, that is cutting illusion. That is being saying, I recognize myself observing this thought, and within this thoughts is telling me what I need to be doing. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to cut this shit out. And from there, you begin to recognize you stated, or you commanded yourself to be in your power for the very first time, just say that I'm not going to allow my thoughts to tell me what to do anymore, it's still within you.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and you break through that even for 1 minute. That's you already in your power. Begin to recognize that there's something in me no longer needing the outside world to reflect upon myself.
Mm.
Now I'm going to take back my power, remember who I am, to express in a way that internally I own who I am. That is meditations.
You know what's so powerful about that, man? I've been thinking a lot about this space between real and unreal. What determines something to be real? What determines it not to be real? What, even down to, let's say, a product or a clothing brand. Kanye's shoes or Ye's shoes have always been ugly as hell to me. They've never been, I never understood it. But the value that we've put into the attention towards Ye makes it where whatever he creates has the highest value. You know what I'm saying? We made it real. We made, if we all of a sudden, and look, as soon as we don't want Ye and we don't like Ye, stock goes down. You know, a lot of people might not cop his stuff. They don't want to listen to his music, some of them. You know what I'm saying? So we determine what's real or what's unreal. Even our thoughts, if we're going to take it to what you're talking about with meditation, it sounds like when we talk about cutting illusion, we decide whether it's an illusion or not. It's a sweet spot in meditation where even in that, like you said, that split minute, that 1 minute, 30 seconds, if you can just look at your thought, you can now decide right there in that moment, how much value am I giving that thought? How much attention am I giving that? I don't like how I look. I know that just came up with me. I'm being honest about that. Here comes the self-love. I'm going to love myself knowing that that's what I'm thinking. Now I can decide in this brief moment, is that real or not real? You know, and it really is this in-between space that we're trying to practice to be comfortable in.
No, I appreciate your vulnerability and honesty about this, because this is the truth comes when we start to recognize something, the ugliness about ourselves, that it isn't real, right? And what you share is many of us can even do meditation 30 seconds. You don't even have to sit there. The minute, let's say you and I, especially, we are sharing this to the world, whether we flood it with positive message, whether we flood it with negative message, you know how I cut illusion? The positive is just a reinforcement that, am I doing something right? Am I doing something who I am? Which is a good thing. I don't learn from that, to tell you the fact.
Yeah.
It's great. It reinforces, and yeah, you know, I'm cool. I'm a badass, right? So that's positive reinforcement. Doesn't really get me anywhere. But if I get flooded with negative comments, negative message, this is the opportunity for me to grow. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to read it. I'm going to meditate it. I'm going to feel the ugliness of what it is, what people are saying. And it's not what people are saying. What I'm allow it in my mind.
Yeah.
That's when I cut it.
That's when you cut it. When you allow it in there, because now you got a hold of it. And now you could decide to be like, all right, I'm cutting that.
Right, right.
I'm not even connecting with that. I'm not attaching myself to the feeling that's coming from that emotion or that thought.
If all thoughts are illusion, then what am I creating? So it's not absolutely not all thoughts are illusion. What you just say right there is not to attach to the thoughts that creates the image of who I am. But knowing the thoughts itself, that I'm not attached to it, then it's not an illusion, is I'm creating the reality of who I am, why I'm here to create. What am I creating?
So now we're really moving as a God.
Yes. You know, people shy away from words like, I'm a God. No, you're not. There's a God outside of us. I'm not here to argue about what people belief systems are. I'm saying that what I see in within myself over the years of journey and healing, and even seeing the patterns from me holding space for people, they begin to have this power to actually cut those illusion and begin to see themselves a God, whether they go back to religious aspect, whether they go back to the belief system. Then you really start to see we are this powerful being, whether God outside of us, the creators, that maybe even myself don't really define what it is. Whether I define or not define, it's not for you or anybody else to break it down the process. What is he talking about? If you don't have the ability to access to who you are, believe who you are as a powerful being, as like God or goddess, whatever your labels are, you understand that what we are doing to reality and society is that they still cutting us down. They still putting limited belief in us. They still making us feel like we are not this powerful being as we are. Rather than for me, who do you questions? You need to question yourself. And that's what this meditations and this shamanic gets into the reality of you can see, when you can see, when you can feel, when you can be, access to even in dream states, then you know you are beyond what many, even myself, telling you who you are. When I talk about drum or sound healing, it's basically there's no duality, right? It's frequency. Our body, our emotions can also vibrate along with higher frequency, along with any sound or instrument. So the drum itself in this reality can be just a drum, me beating on the drum, banging, you hear the sound of the drum. There's no duality. You're still in your own thoughts. You still navigate within your own mind and constructs of who you are, what you are. Maybe thinking about something you done yesterday, or maybe something shows up. It is the emotion that's been trapped in our body in a different frequency that is still in there. And the reason why it's still in there, we still hanging on to that. So the illusion itself is mainly for the work that I do is cutting fear, overcoming fear, releasing fear. So cutting illusion is really about cutting out the fear. The drumming itself, I learned this actually from psilocybin, from the mushroom. When I was given that before, I also got into meditations, and I also always in meditation state and navigate through my thoughts, communicating with myself, analyzing logically. But over time, I began to see the not just the patterns of light what people see. I begin to see things in form, form of where if I think of something, it creates it in form. If I emotionally feel something, whether it's negative, it creates a very dark, negative, grayish form of energy that I can see. But if I can also navigate and change my thought to like love, change my thought to kindness or some way of joy or things that I was happy with, it becomes very this beautiful light, which in the Tibetan teaching they call it the rainbow body, the rainbow light, which when the monks teaches and cultivate themselves in meditations, cultivate kind and compassions, our body becomes this rainbow body, which in the Western we call it the chakras color, the aura. So over the process of working with the medicine and drumming, it begins to guide me to show me what I'm supposed to be doing, even though I kind of like this is ridiculous. This is kind of like people say this is demonic. This is not real. This is not I don't know who's doing this. It's something is moving me, something is telling me, something is all of this duality, all of this story, because I refuse to do something I wasn't really believing. I don't know what it is. Um, but I do it. I kind of like learning the process. And over time I begin to see. And when I begin to see those form, I'm able to see how the drum cuts those illusion. And then When I begin to hold space for other, I see the same thing for other. And the drum and the medicine itself, not just me or the drum, the medicine itself guides me to see to show what people are actually emotionally feeling about themselves. If they sit there in the journey, I can see those form coming out of themselves, coming out of their heart, coming out of their body, coming out of their mind. They're not demonic. They just fear. They just things that they hold about themselves that isn't true. But
Mhm.
when they navigate through their own internal journey, whatever that is, in their own mind, I see the drum will show me how to cut those. The singing without words, without
Mm.
language,
Mm.
it's just a voice, the expression, and those voice become very from my mind. It become just being your power, sending you love, sending you power, sending your own sovereign. You are a powerful being. Just the singing itself, I see the form change. It transformed from a dark cloud, from a grayish form to this rainbow light. And then it goes beyond that. It goes to sometimes it shows a golden light among themselves for every single one person that I see. Then it goes to this white light. And there is a little blue star, what you refer to, the Christ consciousness. And I share this isn't all being all. Every one of us have our own reality that we need to tap into. We need to go within ourselves to see those. You don't have to even see what I see. You just
Mm.
have to begin to see how much lack of love you still have within you. And that is mainly what this cutting fear, which is our illusion.
That's the fun part of cutting illusion. I think, we should kind of, when we think about being children, um, and when we were born, we it was easy for us to explore. It was easy for us to just look at and think everything was new as fuck. Everything was like, oh my god, people like are big, they're huge, the colors, and there was this journey that we should have in being able to openly discover and explore and try out and imagine. These qualities, these traits didn't go anywhere. And this process of cutting illusion, eventually it could end up being fun. It could almost be like, you're, oh, really? Is that still going on with me? I didn't even know that. Okay, all right, cool. Am I doubting myself because I reached this new level? Is my ego getting? These are good discoveries because they're only moments to let you know that the soul is emerging more. There's more to reveal about who you are.
I love it. It is humor. It is once you know who you are, you want to have fun. You don't want to just
Yeah.
be this very stern, right? I'm gonna share a secret when I host spaces in shamanic drumming. So I'm gonna share the process that how the space is being whole. How when someone take a medicine, it is easy to take medicine out in the sunlight among trees, among natures because it's all love. There's nothing to learn, nothing to grow. Maybe it does give you some form of love and happiness. And that's not what the medicine have taught me. To overcome fear, to cut those illusions, the medicine have taught me to do the medicine around 3 a.m. in the morning. In the state of that time, of course, mainly there isn't a lot of people consciously awakened yet. So it's a lot more connections to the divine or to ourself mainly. And from there, I began to work through fear. I was very always afraid through the conditionings of watching horror movies at a very young age. And from those image of fear, what we call a demonic, what we call dark spirits, there is entity, there is form, there is consciousness that's already out there, whether we see it or we don't. The medicine have shown me all of that. And two things that I always tell people when you go into a sacred medicine, even you refer as a trippin or mushroom, it doesn't matter what you label what it is. It doesn't matter what your past experience is. Each person per se, their work the medicine or guide the medicine a different form, different way, because I learned to break through fear. One of my way is the warrior's way of the medicine. It is to cut through fear, cut through the delusion, and that is to see. I put myself face those darkness in pitch black, with candles, and imagine how much afraid it is, even for myself at the beginning, to take the medicine, not knowing what's going on, what will happen, what my minds are doing, what I'm feeling, what emotionally, what I think I'm seeing that shows up. Two things I tell people at the beginning: your logical mind want to grab onto something, want to attach to something that we know. I say, choose a weapon, choose a sword, fight it. You're a powerful being to fight this, what you call, what define, what you say is a demonic, dark entities. Fight it first. That's the first thing your nature, known being a human being, we do fight. So fight that like a warrior. Access your power. Begin how real, how powerful you are, so you can cut through this fear as like a maniac and be still, not running around. Control your mind, control your emotion, and control your body, and be there and breathe. And then once you work through the process, you begin to feel a little bit more comfortable with it, and continue to work with the medicine and try to access love. If you see something is dark and something demonic, something that is dark entity, access the love, how powerful love itself, without any fighting at all, and be there and be still. And that is also the process of integrating the meditation, the shamanic healing, and the medicine. And then you begin to realize, once you move through that, you will see some of the beautiful things. You will see, connect to your God. You will see, you connect to your higher self. And whatever that is, you begin to see everything that is an illusion and perceptions of how your reality is, and how we still out there in the world navigating and beating ourselves up. So the medicine have taught me all of this through the drumming and singing and allowing, just be. And over time, it's not about feeling good, feeling positive. You begin to excited about when you feel shitty about yourself. You want to go to meditation because you begin to know the process of how you cut those programming out of your story, of your mind. So that is the Stoic medicine have taught me.
That's amazing. You said that when you get into a place where you want to laugh, there's absolutely no laughing. And I've always known shrooms, when you're on that journey, it's such an individual thing. I have led people in their first trip before, and I know that the first time you do it, there like a lot of times, just a fit of laughing happens. Is it something that we should just accept and allow to happen, or should we also fight that?
So that is, of course, great question, Yanaid. If you are in a space with others, absolutely, you don't fight it. You're trying to navigate how powerful you can control it. You can move it away. You want to be still because you don't want to disturb other people in their own journey. But if you by yourself, yeah, laugh all you can laugh. But when you are laughing, keep in mind that who is actually laughing? Was the medicine laughing?
Who
Was
is
it
laughing?
actually you laughing? Or your mind, who is it telling you to laugh? Can you control it? Can you surrender? Isn't just a linear way of what to do. It's more of be part of the entire being, your being, of your emotions, your heart, your mind, your body, and the medicine. So it isn't about controlling or fighting it, or isn't about being all of just a form of expressions. What part do you want to learn? Your ability of how powerful you are, then whether you fight it or whether you laugh, is still part of the experience. A big part of the medicine, who is experiencing, Who am I experiencing when I'm with others? I'm also experiencing from others. It is also my experiencing whatever they're going through, because what I see from other is only mainly for me to know what I need to do for my own work. And when I'm done with the journey, when I'm done with the group, I go in myself later on, weeks, month, integrate part of that being. Doesn't mean I attach to anything of who they are, but I learn and grow from that aspect. I learn and grow from their darkness. I learn and grow from their compassion and their love.
So, I guess that's the journey, is to really see who is experiencing, who is the one thinking, who is the one making the story. Is it the one that came from the illusion, or is it the one that observes the illusion?
Wow, that you put it the powerful way. It is both, right? You are observing the illusion and you also creating the illusion. And one of the things about the medicine and journey, isn't it for me, isn't it for just about feeling good, just about being happy? It is more powerful, more into when I leave this body. We talk about death here, right? Fear is what your belief system right now is that puts you in a state of fear. Imagine imagine you have fear. If you cannot cut those illusion of fear, if you cannot move away and navigate those emotions and thoughts, what would happen when you leave this body? It's the same thing what the medicine show us. You also have no body. You're also observing from dark form entities, demonic, spirits, light, color. It's the same way you're going to navigate when you die. You're going to leave this body. So cutting the illusion of being your power is to be now while you have a body and work through those fear and cut it off. So that way when you leave, you have the same power. This is your own consciousness. This is your soul. This is your God within. And I want to share one thing about, like, I know the Western world calls it psychedelics, and even there's a lot of science behind it. They are implement more and more of like certifications,
For
right?
sure.
For this medicine when the world is kind of ready now, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, traditionally, where shamans and tradition cultures learn medicine through the spirit. Even myself, I don't have those teachers. The medicine is my teachers. I don't have part of a culture. But if we so restrict it by needing the ideas of having a certification that this is how you're going to hold space, you are in your mind, you are defining what you think you're seeing, but you are not even allowing the medicine to guide you. You can't see what the medicine, you can't see what other people are doing to navigate like a shaman does. So you're not even holding space for the medicine. You're just saying, I took this course. This is what you need to be. This is how you need to sit. This is how you need to listen. This is how you need to be with the medicine. And many of the restrictions that I see, the biggest illusion is that everybody want to hold a sacred space. There's no such thing as sacred space. Everything pour out the way the reality is for us to see, for us to work through. So if we can work through those together, and even within yourself, there's no such thing as sacred space. It's just mainly for me to hold a boundary so you don't start breaking my walls. Sandana Gavandana Gambandante Kasandana Gavandana Gavandano Kasandana Gambande Gamavadana Gandana Gavandana De Ganavadana Gavana Gavandano Gamavadana Gana Gavandano Hasandana Gavana Gavandana Gavande Gamavadana Gambana Gavana Gano Gamavadana Gana Gambande Always be in your love, your power, and your sovereign being. Thank you.